What's up, everybody? It's Glenn back with Big Jack. This time around, we're here for an NFC South divisional preview heading into the 2025 season. Big Jack, what are your initial thoughts on the NFC South?
Yeah, off the jump, I would say it's kind of similar to the AFC South. It seems like both conferences, AFC, NFC, that South division is fighting some bad juju or something. But I don't think it's going to be great. Bucks are the favorite. I guess, a lot of people kind of like Atlanta to make some noise as well. Saints maybe going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, kind of similar to what we were talking about with the Titans and the Browns along the way. But I think the Panthers start to make a little bit of noise. That's kind of like the first thing that jumps to mind. Bryce Young looked pretty respectable, if not teetering on potential to be good down the stretch last year. So, I'm interested to see how that plays out. If it was more of, he just got a little bit of a hot streak. If, he was the beneficiary of teams kind of not taking the Panthers too seriously, given how bad they were. But I like Dave Canellis. He obviously did a lot of good things, coming from the West Coast, I think he was coming off that McVay tree, if I'm not mistaken. He comes down, goes to Tampa, kind of helps revitalize Baker Mayfield's career, who's also in that division, obviously still kind of rolling. Probably pretty objectively a top 10 quarterback at this point. Yeah. I just, I'm interested to see how that plays out over the course of the season. I like what they did bringing in Ted McMillan in the draft. I think that, that's probably the most interesting thing to me about this division is whether or not Bryce Young and the Panthers can take any sort of actual step forward, or if that was just a little bit of flash in the pan and he's going to sort of regress to the hot garbage that we previously saw during his tenure. What about you?
Yeah, I think the Bucs are the class of the division. Favorites for a reason. I think Baker Mayfield's really revitalized his career, like you said. Probably a top 10 consensus quarterback. Really was dealing last year. He's got a lot of weapons in Tampa. They add Emeka Egbuka to that room, and he's getting a lot of preseason hype. I will say, Carolina, I don't like the bet to win the division at plus 450. But I could see a world where they go over their win total of 6.5 at minus 130. I could see that being a pretty decent bet. I think Tampa, favorite to win the division. I think they not dominate the division, but I think they comfortably win it. That'd be my pick for the division this year for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly tough to argue against that. I mean they were pretty close to making a serious run, the last 2 years in the playoffs, really. It's just another year, Baker Mayfield doing his thing. I do worry a little bit about, you could say, hey, they lost Dave Canellis to the Panthers and looked just as good, if not better. And then this year, they're losing Liam Cohen to the Jaguars. I don't know if that sort of catches up to them at any point along the way. I know Tristan Wirfs obviously is, once again, maybe the best left tackle in the NFL, but he's kind of coming off an injury. He's supposed to be good to go, supposed to be ready for week 1, as far as I can tell, but you never know with that sort of thing. You don't know if it's going to linger, if it's going to affect him throughout the course of the season. He's such a big piece, but they didn't really lose anybody like anything as far as the repertoire on the offensive side of the football. Another year of Bucky Irving continuing to improve. Mike Evans is, probably a first ballot Hall of Famer at this point. Just kind of keeps doing his thing. They're eventually going to get Godwin back off of injury. I like the Panthers. I don't know if I would go as far as to say, to your point about like them making such a substantial jump that they could win the division. I do like that over win total is probably my favorite play if I was going to be doing anything in this division. I'm curious to hear, though, like Kellen Moore, first year with the Saints, they draft Tyler Show, however the hell you say his name. I don't know what that's going to look like. I'm not overly interested in it, to be frank. But I would be curious your thoughts on what's going to happen with Atlanta. You think Michael Penix is going to be decent? You think Bijan's going to be the man this year? Do they have any chance to kind of push the Bucs to the limit, or you think it's just Bucs or nothing?
I think it's Bucs. I mean, I think Atlanta's offense could be decent. I'll be interested to see how Michael Penix does this year. I wasn't a huge fan of him coming out. Be interested to see how he does in his sophomore season. That being said, Atlanta in the draft, for what it's worth, they went with the 2 edge rushers, 2 smaller, quicker edge rushers. I'll be interested to see how they deploy them. Something Atlanta's struggled with for a number of years is just getting some good pass rush. I don't see a world where they could contend with the Bucs in this division. I actually think I like Atlanta as the 3rd team in this division.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I don't know. I guess kind of like in closing, I would say that I could very well see a world in where the Bucks challenge for the NFC in general.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't go out as far as to say that that'd be like something I would invest in by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's probably decent value on a team like that to win the NFC. I feel like we both are kind of on the same page about how we feel about their chances to win the division. You get in the dance, they flashed some pretty solid performances. I know losing efforts on the road at Detroit, but I don't know, man. Decent football team. I don't love Todd Bowles. I don't know why. I just never have. I don't think even though he continues to put in consistent years since his departure from New York, I'm not sure I'll ever be able to buy in on a Todd Bowles led team. But yeah, the Bucks are going to be tough all year.
Yeah, just quick final point for me off your point about the Bucks maybe pushing for an NFC title, get to the Super Bowl game, to get to the Super Bowl, not Super Bowl game. The NFC, I mean, you got the defending champion, the Eagles, but after that, I mean, Green Bay, now that they got Parsons, I think is the second favorite to come out of the NFC. You don't really have like these juggernauts that you're super scared of, where in the AFC you got all those top quarterbacks. So yeah, I mean, a team like Tampa, a team like Washington, team like San Fran on a bounce back year, can they challenge for a chance to make it to the Super Bowl? I think absolutely in this NFC. I think it's going to be pretty open. Of course, there will be some teams that rise to the top, but going into the season, it's kind of like Philly and who's going to step up after that,
100%. It's wide open, man. It really is. I mean, like you said, the quarterbacks, they're all in the AFC. It's a gauntlet to get through there. It's almost like whoever comes out of there, you had to go through so much just to make it. Who knows how much you got left in those legs. The NFC's wide open, man. It's the NFL. Depends how injuries fall. Certain things break one way or another. The Bucks stay clean. I don't think it's impossible.
Absolutely. All right, that's it for our NFC South preview. We'll be back with NFC East preview next. If you're new here, like and subscribe. And check back at our other videos. We got the AFC divisional previews uploaded in the previous days. Like I said, like and subscribe. Check back for more. Peace.